Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Ijoma here, and in today's video we're going to learn how to make this beautiful dress with an underbust corset. Should I call this an underbust corset? But the bone is from the underbust down to the full length, and it has a basque waistline. So in today's video we're going to learn how to cut and sew this. And if you are making this, you will need like 2 yards of the top of a white crepe and then another 2 yards for the down part. Now this is the fabric that I'm using. I have this nude crepe and then this red pink, they call it red pink, right? This red pink crepe. So the nude one is thicker than the pink one. The nude one is thick because I will have to add bone to it, and we want it to have a little structure. Then the pink one, the one below, is somehow soft. If it is too thick, the gathers may be too hard for you. Now I'll mark my chest line, my bust point. My chest line is 8 inches. Sorry, let me turn this paper so that everything will enter. My chest line is 8 inches. My bust point is 10 inches. My under bust is 13 inches. My half length is 17. Then the front part of this dress has a basque waistline. It is a normal princess that, right? But it has a basque waistline. So I am going to add like extra 5 inches from my half length. That will make it like 23, 22 for my basque. So for the basque, it depends on you, and it depends on how low you want your basque to be. Now, after labeling these lines, you will start taking our measurement. This is our allowance. So I didn't add allowance to this paper, to the full length, but to the side I added allowance to the paper. Now the neckline is going to be 3 by 3. I want it to be small, but if you're making it for yourself, you should make it 3 by 4. The person that I'm making this dress for is smaller, like her size is lesser than mine. So if you want to relax, make it 3 by 4. Then my shoulder is 16 divided by 2, 18 divided by 16 divided by 2, 8. Sorry. Then from the shoulder, I marked my shoulder slant and I connected from my shoulder to my chest line. Then I'll find my nipple to nipple, that is 4 inches, and I will extend this 4 inches line from the bust point down to the basque line. From the bust point down to the basque line. So at the center part of this paper, I will take out half an inch from the dart line, and I will connect. Then at the other side, I will take out 1.5 and I will connect, and this will make it a total of 2. Half an inch on the center side of this princess dart, 1.5 on the other side. So if you add the two of them, it will be 2 inches. The reason why I made it 2 inches is because I am not padding this. So if you want to pad it, you can make it 2.5. For a big bust, you can make it 3 in total. Now I will connect all of them to the bust point. Then at the armhole, I'll find the midpoint of my armhole, that is 4. My armhole is 8, the midpoint is 4. Then I'll connect from my bust point to my armhole. From this midpoint, I'll come down by 2 inches. From the armhole midpoint, I'll come down by 2 inches. And I'll also make sure that if I'm connecting from my bust point to that 2 inches that I marked, that it will be 2 inches or 1.5 inch longer than the center piece. You can see the armhole is longer. I have a very detailed video on how to sew it and how to draft a princess dart, so you can go watch it. Now these places that I'm shading now are the places that I will cut out. The reason why this princess dart is this long is because it has a basque waistline. Remember that this dress has a basque waistline at the front only. So I'll go ahead and cut out, and after cutting out, I will have to overlap. I don't know if you understand what I mean. After cutting these places out, you can see these places that are shaded, right? After cutting them out, I will place the center piece on the side piece, and then I'll take my body measurement. That is the way I take my body measurements, and it works for me all the time, so that when you wear it on your body, it will fit properly. You can see the way I placed them, and I made sure that all the lines are aligning. Then you will divide your bust by 4 and you mark plus 2 inches seam allowance. You will divide your waist by 4, you will mark plus 2 inches seam allowance. This will give you a perfect measurement and a perfect basque waistline. Now you can see from my half length, I will also connect my basque. So this will give you a perfect basque waistline, so that when you are joining your pieces, none of them will be longer than the other. I hope you understand what I mean by that. Now after cutting this out, I will use this front pattern to cut out the back pattern, and you will see how I will do that. The thing is that the back part of this dress, the back bodice of this dress is shorter than the front, because that one stopped at the half length, but the front has a basque waistline. I hope you understand what I mean. So this is the new paper that I'm using for the back. First of all, I'll mark out my zipper allowance, and then I'll place my center front so that it will start from that zipper allowance. So this is zipper allowance, so that we will not get confused. This is our zipper allowance. You label it, and you will also place the side so that it will overlap, like we are basically closing this dart on paper, the back dart. I don't want it to have any dart at the back, so I close it on paper. The neckline will be 1.5 inch deep. It will not be too deep like the front neckline. Then it will stop at the half length. It will not have any basque waistline. If you watch closely, you can see how I am cutting this out. You will cut out the side, you will cut out your armhole, and after doing that, you can remove the paper, and now you will cut straight from the half length. This back body should stop at the half length. I hope we understand. Now, after doing this, I'm going to cut out all those pieces on my fabric. Then I'll go in by 1 inch at the half length of my back. I'll go in by 1 inch in order to avoid zipper bulge. And you know, this bag does not have a dart, so I'm also trying to avoid zipper bulge. So I went in by 1 inch at the half length, and you can see the way I connected it. Then I'll go ahead and cut out. After cutting this out, I will cut out all the pieces that I have on my nude crepe fabric. Now I'll keep that aside. The next thing that we are going to cut right now is our sleeve. So if you check, the sleeve also has the color of the body, so I'm using this crepe for the sleeve. So this sleeve, you will cut it so that it will be somehow big. The width of this sleeve, I'm going to make it 10 inches. If you make it 10 inches, then the length should be around 28 or 30 inches. Let's say from 25 to 30, 25 to 30 inches. The sleeve has to be longer than your normal sleeve, because we're still going to add an elastic to it. And you can see the width of this sleeve, I made it 10 inches. You can go ahead and make yours 20 inches if you want the puff to be full. Now I'll go ahead and cut out this sleeve, and after cutting out the sleeve, I will notch like 3 places where I'm going to add an elastic on this sleeve. You add a little elastic on this sleeve. So now from the top of my sleeve, I will come down by 8, and I'll mark on 8, on 15, and around 20. Now after doing that, you will notch all these areas, because these are the points where you are going to add an elastic. I hope we understand. Now after doing this, the next thing that I'm going to do is to cut out a band for this sleeve. This sleeve has a band, so I will cut out a band for it. You can see the notches I have on my sleeve. This is where I'm going to add my elastic. I'll go ahead and cut out a band for my sleeve. So using this fabric, I'll cut out 2 bands, and the bands will be on fold. Then the length should be up to 5 inches. The length should be up to 5 inches. Then the width should be your wrist measurement plus 1 inch for seam allowance. Now after doing that, I am going to cut out another one. Now after cutting this band, I will use the pieces that is remaining to cut out the bone casing. You know, this dress has a bone casing, so I will use this particular fabric also to cut out the bone casing. If you don't want to add your bone casing on top of your fabric or on top of your bodice, you can sew the bone casing inside. For me, I want to add my bone casing. So these pieces that I'm cutting out right here, they are 2.5 inches wide. 2.5 inches wide. It can be as long as possible. It depends on the size of the boning that you are adding and how many boning that you are adding to your dress. Then this dress also does not have any bone at the back. The boning is just at the front. Now I'll go ahead and cut. I think I don't have enough. I'll also cut an extra one so that I will not run out of bone casing when I am sewing. Now the next thing that we are going to do is to cut out the gather part of this dress. So this is 2 yards of crepe. I'm not going to remove anything from these 2 yards. I will just fold it into 2. It is into 2 now. This is 1 yard into 2. Then I'll fold again. The full length of my dress is 47 minus 17 for the half length, that is 30. So if I measure this, I have 30, 31 as the length. So I'll just go ahead and divide this crepe into two along that full length area. The full length of the gown is 47, so already you have taken out 17 for the half length. We are left with 30, and this length now is 30. So what I'm going to do is that these two pieces that are 30 inches long, I'll join the two of them, and that is what we are going to use for our gathers. I hope we understand. Then the next thing that we are going to do now is to cut out the lining for all these pieces that we have here. These are the back pieces. This one is the front piece, and we also have the center front piece. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is to cut out the lining for all of them, and you're going to add an interface to them. So if you want, you can add your interface to your lining. If you don't want, you can just leave it, but adding an interface to the main fabric is very important. Now I'll keep that aside, and this is the cotton lining that I am using as the lining. Now I'll go ahead and cut out for all of them, and as you are cutting, remember to notch your underbust. It is important so that when it is time for you to join your pieces, you will not be having issues. Now after cutting for the center piece, center front, I'll cut out for the back. So I mentioned that the back of this dress will not have any bone. You don't need to add any bone to the back of this dress. If you want to add it, it is fine. If you want to lace the back also, it is okay, but the lace has a zip, the back has a zipper, and it does not have any boning, so the bone is just at the front. Now this is the last one, and this is the side piece of this bustier, and after cutting it out, I'll start joining the pieces. But before I join, I'll add an interface to my fabric. It is very important. Add it to your fabric. Even if you don't want to add to the lining, add to the fabric, because you need to you want the fabric to have strength to carry bones. So when you start running bone casing on it, it may not be able to carry. So these are the pieces that I have. I added interface to my fabric, but I didn't add it to the lining. I'll go ahead and join. So these are the back pieces also. I'll go ahead and use this lining to turn the neckline and the sides of the dress. I couldn't find a good lining that matches this color, so I went for this particular color. Now this is the sleeve, and it is time to run the elastic. So for the elastic of this sleeve, you are going to run elastic on all those places that I notched. But the thing is that this elastic will not reach the sides of this sleeve. It will be only at the center part of that sleeve. I may put up a picture here so that you can see what that sleeve looks like. So you just need to add just short elastic. You can see what I'm cutting here. I'll go ahead and cut like 3 of them. If you want to add only 2 elastic, it is up to you to add only 2. So this elastic that I have, I will run it on those 3 places that I notched. And remember, they will not reach the both sides of the sleeve. They will just start around the center of this sleeve. Now you will start running this elastic, and as you are sewing, you'll be dragging it. As you are sewing, you'll be dragging it. So after adding the 3 elastic, this is what I have. This is the other one. I will go ahead and fix the band first of all before shaping this sleeve. So remember to fix your band. If you want it to have a shirt band, you are also free to add a shirt band, but I'm not adding a shirt band. I want it to have a normal band. Now after doing this, the next thing that you are going to do is to shape your sleeve. After shaping the sleeve, you make sure that the band area is tight, so that when you drag your sleeve, it will hold you very well. So after shaping your sleeve, this is what you should have. So if you wear it and pack it together, it will give you those puff. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. So if you compress this, if you wear this sleeve and like drag it up, it will give you different demarcations around your hand. Now I'll go ahead and keep this sleeve, and we'll continue with our bustier. Now this is our bustier. I am done joining, and I ironed all the princess that area very well. If you want to pad this, you can pad it, but if you add enough interface to your fabric and to your lining, I think you may not need this padding. You may not need to pad it that much. So the next thing that we are going to do now is to mark the lines where we are going to fix our bones. So I always advise you to mark lines, because it will make this easy for you and they will look neat. Now mark your lines according to how many bones you want to add to this dress. Then if you don't want to sew your bone casing on top of this particular bodice, if you have a regular bone, you can go ahead and sew it inside. Now I'll go ahead and fix my bone casing. I'll take you to my sewing machine to show you how I did that. Now I am marking my lines. You start from the center and you mark at the sides, and then you also mark the other one. So after marking these lines, you will take it to your sewing machine and you will sew. So if you want to have more lines than these ones that I'm marking, you are also free to have more lines than this. Now this is what I have, right? And I'll go to my sewing machine. I'll take you guys to my sewing machine so that you can also understand how I did this. So the thing is, if you get the beginning of that piece, you fold it and then you fold into two. After folding it into two, you go ahead and run it close to that line. You can see that I am sewing it on fold. You will run it close to that line, and after running it close to that line, you flip it over and you run another stitch on top. So after running this stitch on top, you can see the beginning, that place that I folded, it is not looking dirty. Then you cross it with your thread and you continue sewing. So after fixing all these things, you can see what I have. That is the method I use. You use it to fix as many as you want. It depends on you. Now after doing this, what I'm going to do right now is to turn the neckline of our bustier. After turning the neckline, you can also turn the side. And after doing this, you iron and you repeat the same thing to the back bodice. You will close your zipper allowance and iron so that when you are shaping it, it will be easy for you to shape. Now after ironing, this is what I have, and I'll also place the back so that you guys can see what I have. Now just go ahead and shape. After shaping, you will close the shoulder also, but for me, I do shape before closing my shoulder. So go ahead and shape, and after shaping, you will close your shoulder. And after closing your shoulder, you will come back and then trim your bust waistline. Remember that we have a bust waistline at the front, so you give it a little trim so that it will look very neat. Now I'm trimming the armhole, and after trimming the armhole, remember to retrim the bust area. It is very important. Remember to retrim the bust area. So after doing that, you go ahead and join your gathers. The piece that we are using for our gather is two pieces, right? So we are going to join it and then we'll hem one side. Once we are done doing this, we'll fix our sleeve and then we'll start our gathering. Now, before adding your gathers, remember to insert your bones, though this is optional, but remember to insert your bones if you want it to be very fitted. You just go ahead and insert your bones. I hope we understand. It is not compulsory, it is up to you. Now, after doing that and after adding our gathers, this is what we have. Now, I'm going to add my zipper, that is all, and then fix your sleeve. You don't really have too much to do. So after fixing the zipper, you will go ahead and iron. So if you want to add lace into this, you can add lace into it. I actually have a video where I thought about how to add a lace into this type of gather, flay gather. I have a tutorial on that. You can check it out. See you all in my next video. Bye.